Hey everybody, it's Melissa, and I just hopped out the shower and I was thinking to myself that I haven't done a video for first time gold chain buyers in a minute. So here we are, okay? You're buying your very first gold chain. I'm gonna try to keep this as simple and concise as possible, okay? So the first thing I recommend is keeping in mind that your first chain should be your signature piece. It should be something that you can daily wear 24/7, because if you just out the gate get a nighttime banger that's for the bars or the clubs or parties and stuff like that, you might get bit with the gold bug where you're like, dang, now like what do I wear like in the daytime, right? Because maybe your nighttime chain is a little bit more fragile or it's a little bit more showy. So now you're gonna go buy something else. So I would say find your daily driver chain, and this is how you're gonna find it, okay? The first thing is to decide if you want yellow gold, white gold, or rose gold. Those are the three toned options that most people in their head already, they're like, okay, I know I want a yellow gold chain, or I know I want a white gold chain. You've made that decision. The next thing I would recommend is to keep in the back of your mind that whatever chain you get should be a solid gold chain. Because again, we're talking about daily drivers, things that you can leave on your neck 24/7, sleep, shower. If you like to get active, you get active with it. It does not matter. You're not going to worry about it breaking. So that's why I would advise against chains like the herringbone. Even though the herringbone is so gorgeous, it's just, it can kink a lot. It's pretty fragile. There are people that have been wearing their herringbone for a couple years now, but it's just more on the delicate side. So that's something you can add to your rotation and your collection later on down the road. Other chains I would advise against for first time is like those moon beaded chains, anything that's hollow or semi-hollow. Now I've had this argument with people that are like, oh, hollow chains can be durable. They're just as good as solid chains. And they were telling me that, well, solid chains can break too. But the thing is, hollow chains are more likely to break. You know, I don't know how much more upfront I could be about that, but the amount of people I've had conversations with that go into a store and they buy the hollow gold rope chain because they think, oh, like because the associate told them, okay, well, this one's cheaper and it's a bigger, you know, it's of course a bigger millimeter, and people are going after the size, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get this rope chain. They pay like $1,200 for a 7mm, 8mm rope chain, and then in 2 weeks it breaks. I was talking actually to this stripper, and she was telling me that she's like, yeah, there was this dude that came in and she grabbed on his shirt, and underneath his shirt was a hollow chain and it snapped, and he was like freaking out about it. So it's like, you want something that's gonna keep up with you. Why buy your first chain and it be fragile as fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, you want it to be a daily driver. You want it to be something that like you're happy to have it around your neck. And if you were to ask anybody if they could have a solid version of their chain or a hollow version, and I presented both of them, and I'm like, here, you could take one. You want the hollow, you want the solid. It's on me. They're always going to take the solid option. Okay, so hollow, I understand if you're trying to ball on a budget, but I would just say save for the piece that you want. That's the key. Don't be so quick to want to buy something just to have something, because the likelihood of you getting buyer's remorse is going to bite you in the ass later on. Okay, so now you have in your mind that, all right, let's say I want a yellow gold chain. I want it to be, it's going to be solid gold. Let me think of what style I want. All right, so let me just break down some very easy styles that a lot of people, I recommend for a lot of first time buyers. So we could do this one. Yeah, I'll do this one. So I have three very popular options here, and I can add a fourth. Yeah, I'm going to add a fourth one, because the chains that I'm going to show you, you know, I'll explain it in a bit. We have the rope chain, the Figaro chain, Mariner, and the flat curb. Okay, so the rope chain was my very first gold chain that I bought. I was excited, 14 karat, right? And love it, but it wasn't the one that I initially wanted the most. I still have a lot of love for this chain, but these three chains here, I highly recommend for first pieces because they are lighter in gram weight. And when it comes to buying a gold chain, the gram weight is the most important thing. Okay, whenever you go into these stores, you have to ask them, can you weigh that out for me? And then you can compute in your head how much they're charging you per gram when you search up, what's the price of 14 karat gold today or 18 karat gold today, and you type in your country, you should see the breakdown so you could see how much of a markup they're giving you, right? But with these chains here, a little bit of gold goes a long way. They are very unproblematic chains. They look good with or without pendants. And people on the internet are gonna tell you that, oh, with flat link chains, you don't wear a pendant with those, like, because it's gonna curve weirdly at the bottom. Nobody gives a shit in person. Like, and it looks good. I've worn these chains by themselves. I've worn them in person. Again, everything is gonna be personal preference to you, but if you like the look, that's what matters. People on the internet are always gonna be tough to try to say something else, but I've seen these chains actually more with pendants just because these are big in like Asian and Latino communities, especially these two right here. And growing up, I've often seen them worn with Guadalupe pendants or crucifixes. So again, just if you like it, wear it, right? But these chains are great because they have amazing shine factor to them. And again, the affordability. And when I say affordability, that kind of stumps some people because they're like, oh, well, buying gold isn't affordable. You have to look at this through a solid gold lens, okay? If you buy a 3mm flat curb, it is gonna be way less than a 3mm Franco. Let's just keep it how it is. The heavier the chain, the more expensive it's gonna be, and these are more lightweight. Now, the rope chain is here because the rope chain is also a lot of people's very first gold chain. And what's great about it is, for one, it's eye-catching, right? When you see it on a website or see it in a store, a lot of people beeline to the rope chain because, like, damn, that thing is gorgeous. Another great thing is it's a rounded style, right? You can kind of see right here, these are flat, you see the side profiles, but this one is rounded. It looks good with or without a pendant. And as far as other rounded chains go, the rope chain looks bigger than it actually is. So it has good presence to it in comparison to other chains of the same millimeter. So, and in a way, when I was looking for my first gold chain, this was one of the more affordable options when it came to heavier chains, even though it's not a heavier chain, but it just looks bigger. So again, it has that bang for your buck visually, right? So the downside with the rope chains, though, keep in mind, is this thing can snag on hair. Okay, it doesn't matter if you don't have long hair. Even if you have a beard, if you have chest hair, whatever it is, this thing will piss you off. And if you're somebody that likes to have the slick bun kind of going on, sometimes the baby hairs at the nape of your neck will get pulled on with this chain. So please keep that in mind. That's the one thing that really drives me nuts about this chain. Everything about it is perfect, but the fact that it snags hair is just like, it's the only downside, truly. But really good, catches light beautifully. So for me, just to kind of share my own story, when I was first getting into this, I really loved the look of Miami Cuban links. And let me show you real quick, because the Cuban links, I was like, dang, those are so nice. And I just kept looking at Cuban link videos, and I saw like the price tag of them, and I'm like, dang, do I really want to spend on a 5mm like Cuban link right now for my first one? And again, for me, I didn't really care too much about, I don't know. I think I wanted something gold, but I knew I wanted a Cuban link, but I wasn't super picky where I knew that, okay, 100% I need a handmade Cuban link. I guess I wasn't as decisive with it. So the more decisive you can be, the better it's going to be for you in the future, right? So this one right here is a micro Miami Cuban link that I have. This one is in 22, a solid 22 karat gold, and it has the lobster clasp. Now with the Cuban links, I think upwards of 5mm. When it's handmade, typically it's going to have the box lock on it. But I think that 5mm is the sweet spot where they start putting box locks. There are some that now they're bringing it down to 4 with the manufactured ones. But Cuban links are sleek. They're heavy. They look like they just hug on your neck. And to me, these look good with or without pendants. Now I know that you might think, well, isn't this a flat link? Don't people kind of hate when there's pendants on these? I don't care what people think if they have pendants on them, because truly, I mean, you see Cuban links, whether it's in the micro sizes or the bigger sizes, you see a lot of people wearing them with pendants as well. It's just a durable chain. I think that's truly what it is. If you want to rock it solo, you can, But this thing is tough. Like if you decide later on, okay, I want to put a pendant on this thing, it's going to look good. Now, the downside with the Cuban links is the fact that they do have a tendency to kink, but that is very dependent on the quality and who made the pieces. Because this Cuban link that you see right here that I have, it is never kinked on my neck. The only time it's ever kinked is when I have it in like a jewelry box, let's say, right? And then I pull it out and there's a little kink, but the second I just straighten out the chain, the kink is gone. Or if I just like touch where the kink is, it melts. It's no longer there. So that is a big thing. Some people get poorly made Cuban links, unfortunately, and it's always kinking, so they learn to hate the design and they go with something else that wouldn't give them that problem at all, which brings me to the Franco chain. So if you're on YouTube, if you're basically looking at online videos about jewelry, you're hearing a lot about the Franco chain. A lot of people ride for this chain, and I think this is a good practical chain. Right? To me, visually, it's not that enticing. I think that the Miami Cuban link is a sexier chain. I love the look of the Hermes link. I like durable, heavier chains that still look good, right? But to be honest, the Franco one look kind of bores me. And I know some people are going to hear that and be like in the comment section, like, oh, the Franco, blah, blah, blah. Be as emotional as you want about it. I love that you love your gold chains, but the Franco, I still think is a really good chain for what it is. Like, some people are like, oh, it's understated, it's sleek. I don't think it's understated. I think it's perfectly stated for what it is. The guy that created the Franco chain literally made it because he looked at the Cuban link and said, damn, I want a chain like that has no flaws. And then he came up with the Franco. Now, I know this one is tiny, right? This is like a 1.7 millimeter, so you can't really see it. It is diamond cut, so it's a bit more rounded. It's not like the plain, and it's not as squarish, but yeah, the look of the Franco, I like the Francos actually as bracelets in comparison to chains. So that's where I would wear the Franco, is as a bracelet, because it just rolls around the wrist really nicely. But yeah, this one, it'll roll around your neck nicely too. Now with the diamond cut versions of the Francos though, they could snag on your clothes. It happens from time to time. So just kind of like a word of caution on that. But really, if you buy a Franco chain, you're not going to be tripping about anything. You're probably, if you own one of these, you will be loving it, and you'll be in all the comment sections like, no, the Franco's the best. And I get it. You know, you found yourself like an everyday wear, durable sort of chain. Now, the next thing I would say, once you kind of have an idea of the styles that you want, would be talk of what purity that you should get. And I always tell people, when it comes to purity, get what fits your budget. That's the most important thing here. What fits your budget, and then what suits your skin tone. A lot of people ask me, well, what's the best one for durability? I hear that 14 karat's better, 18 karat, 9 karat, 10 karat. And for me, y'all, durability is going to be there no matter what the purity of the chain is. It's all about the quality of it, because I'll have people tell me, oh yeah, 24 karat, 22 karat, way too soft. I had a 1 millimeter that broke. No shit, it's gonna break. It's a 1 millimeter chain, right? I know people that their 10 karat, 1 millimeter, 1.2 millimeter chain broke. Does that mean 10 karat is a bad purity? No, it doesn't. It just means that you bought a thin chain, so the likelihood of it breaking is gonna happen regardless. And also, again, the quality of how it's made. A lot of times, quality is confused with purity, when that's not the case. Because if you do have a thicker, high purity chain, dude, the durability is there. Even with like this 3 millimeter, when this one's, hold on, this is a 1.7 millimeter Franco, that's 22 karat, that I showed you here. Very durable chain, really. And again, remember y'all that when I'm showing you these chains, they're gonna look bigger on camera than they do in person. So if you're debating, oh, 1.7, that looks big, I'd say go for the 2 or the 2.5. Unless you're like, oh, I really do want a thin chain, right? This Cuban link here is 22 karat, right? Both these 22 karat. This one here is 22 karat, super durable. I've been using it basically, well, no, not basically, longer than I have with lower purity. Been perfectly fine. Been holding up great. The only thing I don't recommend if you're on the fence about high purity gold is scratch factor, right? If you're somebody that is super anal about scratches and every night you take your chain off and you inspect it and you're like, fuck, a scratch, then don't get 22 karat, right? Stop at 18 karat. You have the polish. It still has a little bit of a yellow gold look, and you don't have to trip about scratches, or you can just literally get a high purity Franco chain that doesn't really show any scratches, right? But that's the one thing, is the scratch factor for high purity. And people always want to talk about, oh, the stretch, it stretches. Y'all, that thing is stretching like millimeters over years, like 30 years. I know more people that wear high purity, like 22, 23, 24 karat gold jewelry, like chains. I'm specifically talking about chains in this video, not bracelets and rings, okay? But they've been wearing it for years. You cannot tell the difference. I literally was talking with my uncle like a few months ago, and he was telling me that my auntie got him his 24 karat chain 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago, back in the year 2000, down in LA I think it was the Chinatown area is where he got his jewelry. Dude, that thing looked brand new. I was like, damn, Tito, that thing looks fire. And he was just like, yeah, no, I've had this for years. Like, and he does everything with it, right? So he was like a second or third. You guys know how it is with Filipino communities if you're Filipino, but looked great, okay? And even my grandma, I've showed y'all the chain that she has. It's like a 21 karat chain. It's 22 inches, I think. She's had it for 70 years. It's been a daily wear piece. So that's why whenever people try to come at me with, oh, the stretch, trying to act as if you buy a 16-inch chain and in 10 years it's 24 inches is bullshit, okay? So I would say listen to people that actually wear these things versus people on the internet that are just like, well, Google and science say. There's some things that are cultural, and when you have experience with them, it's going to be different. And again, I can make another video about this, but this goes into the marketing of how, like, especially in the West and in the United States and stuff, they push more 10 karat, 14 karat, not because it's better, but because they are literally selling you a lower purity gold at a high premium, trying to tell people that, oh, it's more durable this way. But they're just like, yo, they're charging prices higher than 24 karat, and people are eating it up because they think that that's the truth about it, when it's not. Okay, so there's a lot of added things to it. So going back to what I was initially saying, pick the purity that best suits your budget and best suits your skin tone, and then be happy with that. There are some people that look really, really good with 10 karat, 14 karat, 22, 24. And also, I have some people that are like, oh, isn't 10 karat bullshit? Isn't 14 karat bullshit? I'm not going to dog on those purities at all. And especially when it comes to the yellow gold, sorry guys, the white gold game, people really can't tell the difference between 10 karat, 14, 18 karat white gold because of that rhodium plating. Like even jewelers have straight up told me that you cannot visually tell the difference between a white gold chain and a silver chain with rhodium plating. The rhodium is the key with all that sort of stuff. So again, what I said, right? Whatever fits your budget. If you want to rock a 10 karat, 14 karat gold chain, you go do that, right? There's no, like, again, don't care too much about what the internet has to say about your piece. If you're happy with it, you're happy with it. Now, some tarnishing could occur with 10 karat, even with like lower purity chains, but it's not because of the gold, it's because of the other alloys mixed with the gold, right? So let's just, and I know we're getting real specific here, but again, I want to be as like thorough and concise as possible. With a 14 karat gold chain, you have 58.5% gold purity. The rest of that is mixed with other alloys to make 100% of your chain, right? Those other alloys, typically silver, zinc, there's nickel, some people use aluminum. So you have these other metals mixed with it that could honestly set some people off with allergies. There are people that are like, I'm wearing a like 14 karat gold chain, but why am I getting itchy? I shouldn't be like allergic to gold. It's not the gold, it's the other alloys mixed in it. So those people, that's your body literally telling you that that you're high maintenance, you know, that you gotta bump up the purity. If you're like, oh man, this gold chain, I thought that I could wear it. Get a higher purity gold chain, get something like 24, and all of a sudden your allergies are gone. That's just, that happens so many times, right? But going back to what I was saying, I I blanked out on it, dude. This is the problem with me. That's not a problem, actually. I like not editing my videos. I like keeping it raw with you guys. But the other metals that are mixed with it could, like silver, has a tendency to tarnish, right? So if you're wearing a 10 karat or a 14 karat and later on down the line, you're like, hey, how come my chain's kind of looking a little bit different? Just go get it cleaned. That's it. Go get it cleaned. It's going to be looking great. And again, this is stuff that happens years down the line, right? There's people that are wearing their 10 karat rope chain, their 14 karat Cuban link, and they've been wearing it for 20 to 30 years. No problems. Whenever people want to talk about that and try to exaggerate it, it's the same way they try to exaggerate high purity in the stretch. Like, this stuff happens. Like, again, you all saw my, like, a 70-year-old chain. It's fine, all right? So just keep it pushing. If you notice something, you can get it cleaned, and it's whatever, all right? So those, I think, are really the main takeaways. I think the next thing I would say is making sure you know what length. This probably should have been earlier in the beginning, but the length is kind of what trips people up. They're like, damn, should I have it tailored higher up my neck? Should I have it lower on my neck? Everybody has different preferences with it. For me, I've learned that I want my chain to be something that I can wear to anything, right? If I'm at a wedding, I can still, boom, it's still on my neck. If I'm literally just in regular casual clothes, it's still gonna look good with every single outfit. So for me, I've found out that having a chain that sits higher up, like this is 16 inches, and then I just have a pendant to drop it down. This goes with everything. And I love that. Sometimes with my longer chains, like the 18-inch chains on me, right? They're gonna, like when I add a pendant to it, it's gonna sit 20 inches and it's not gonna look good with every single thing. So that's just my takeaway from it. Again, we're talking about daily drivers here. Of course, in the future, you can like mix and match different sort of setups if you want. You can layer a bunch of different things. And lastly, I'm going to say, just to reiterate, to buy what, like, have an idea and be as specific as possible with what you want and what that style is, and save up for that. Okay. Don't get bit by the gold bug early and be like, damn, well, I do have, like, I got $1,300 sitting here. Instead of buying this, I don't know, you guys get what I'm saying. Instead of just using that and saving it to get the piece you actually want, you're like, well, I could get this piece right here and I'll have like a chain around my neck. It's easier that way, right? Trust me, when you do that, you're gonna feel like a high, right, for a few weeks. And you know, some people might be like, oh yeah, you know what, I like this better. That's rare though. Most people are gonna be like, dang, the back of their mind, it's the chain that they always wanted, the setup that they always wanted. And y'all, you can really, like, you can go to these jewelers and you can get custom made pieces. Like this piece that you see around my neck, I did a video of it, but I basically had two pendants that I really wanted to wear, but they wouldn't look good layered, right? So it was two coin pendants. This one is the Rising Phoenix and the other one is the St. Christopher. And I knew in my mind that I love my heavy link chain, this Hermes link, and that I wanted to wear it. It looks good by itself, but wearing it with a pendant would be dope, right? So I'm like, dang, all of my pendants just are too light for this. Maybe if I could do something custom made. So if you want, you can go to a jeweler, you know, and you could literally tell them, okay, this is the vision that I have for the pendant I want or the chain that I want. Could you make me something like this? Let's say if you're looking online and all of the chains look a bit too generic for you, you're not finding anything that gravitates to you, like people can make whatever chain design that it is. So keep doing your research. And for everybody that already daily wears gold chains, like leave something in the comment section, any words of advice for people that can help them out. And another thing that I'm going to say, just to re-mention this, what I said in the beginning about gold gram weight being key is so important. Before you go to any of these stores or even any of these websites, look at what the price per gram for gold of whatever purity you're the most interested in is that day, right? So let's take 18 karat. You could type in 18 karat price per gram United States of America, and you're going to see a number there, and keep that number in your mind so that you can calculate, all right, this piece weighs, let's say 30 grams. So like, you know, you could, I don't have to teach you guys how to multiply. I'm over explaining as it is, but again, you can deduce in your mind, all right, this is how much they're selling it for. And keep in mind, of course, these places have to give somewhat of a markup because, for one, it's a business. They need to make profit. And a lot of the times, some of their rent is going into those pieces, so they will be higher. And there are online spots as well that are cheaper because they're not really worried about keeping the lights on with their store, like with their street location, you know what I mean, a brick and mortar. So just keep that sort of stuff in mind. Let me know what your very first gold chain setup was, whether you're a solo solo chain person, you like to wear 2 chains, whatever it is. Leave all that information in the comment section. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.